Welcome to this very special edition of the KJ Masterclass Live, the show which ensures that you profit from your time spent here with experts, either through their industry insights, information, or simply learning from them. And today we have Judith Virag. She is an innovator, she is a CEO and cleaning industry innovator, and also a lot of company culture. She talks about how one can build a company culture, exceptional customer service experience, and we'll talk about all this when we talk. Welcome to the show, Judith.
Thank you so much for having me.
You are welcome. Welcome to the show. Welcome to India in this online form. And I'm sure not just in India, but a lot of people across the globe will benefit from what we are talking about. We'll talk about all this in the backdrop of how one can build a thriving business, just like you have done in a very special industry. But before that, let's understand a bit about your journey. How about the journey from immigrating from Hungary to Canada, even living in a refugee camp, and now being in a position that you are in as of today?
Um, well, I was an executive assistant. That's how my career started in administration. I started as a receptionist and I kind of worked my way up. And then I got really tired of being not people not being accountable, things landing on my desk that were not my responsibility. I was happy to do it because I was learning a lot, but it took away time and I got burnt out. So I decided, you know what, I'm just going to start a cleaning business because I really wanted freedom. I wanted freedom to choose when I'm going to go on holidays, when I'm going to do what. And I never actually thought about building a business, but because I had really good career as an executive assistant, my network was really big. And people who found out that I was cleaning, they trusted me. That's the number one thing when it comes to house cleaning. And they trusted me and they hired me. And then from there on, I just slowly built my business. And now we're over $1 million business. And we employ about 20 people right now, both in the office and of course, in the field.
Absolutely, Judith. Now let's understand. We talked about thriving company culture, and that too in a cleaning industry. People have a lot of expectations in a lot of things. That too in the residential area that you are in this segment. Help us understand then how can you build such a company culture that respects what your customers expect. How does that work? How did you bring that into your company?
So, respect, I think also you have to look at where are you at. We live in Canada. In Canada, I'm actually from Hungary. So in Hungary, cleaners are looked down upon. And actually, all over the world, our industry is displayed pretty negatively in the media. So, it's always like a dingy cleaning lady, not doing a good enough job or anything like that. So we're in Canada. People are already know that they want a cleaning service, and they have a very kind heart here in Canada, people. And so it's really easy to surround ourselves with really, really good customers. And it starts of hiring the right people on the bus, and then build a really exceptional customer service where people actually care and they're helpful. That's one of our core values, is being helpful. So I think really diving into, as a business owner, what your core values are and what kind of personalities and people you want to surround yourself with, both employees and both customers.
Right, Judith. But building a company culture within the company, when there might be a lot of competitors also, and so how do you ensure that they have this culture of serving the customer, as well as to build a culture where your employees are taken care of, and that you have a good team in place to be able to serve your customers. People know you about all these things from you, and that is why you are a speaker on all these subjects around. So help us understand it so that others can learn about these things and maybe inculcate into their own ventures, whatever they are doing?
So I think the key is to set a goal for yourself, and whatever that might be within your organization. Our goal was, our BHAG was that team members are knocking on our doors because we're one of the best in the city that they want to work for. And it's a slow process. You have to put um, steps into it. So how do you communicate with that future candidate? What is your communication style? How do you get them in? And then once you got them in, selling them, because that's what we do, selling them the job. So like, for example, a lot of people will say, oh, cleaning, it's really hard on the body, and you just need to turn it into a positive. And we usually say when we hire is, you don't need a gym membership, because you be on your feet all day and you be very active. So this is a really good job for people who like to be active. And slowly building it. And just like with any relationship, you need to be consistent. Never give up. Always go back. If something didn't work, discard it. And something that's, you see that it's working, build on it. Add more tasks to it. And always, like, as a business owner, I think when I talk to business owners, they all understand your mind is always going. You're always thinking about, how can I be better? How can I do the best by my team and things like that? So if you are always thinking and you're always preparing, then you kind of know what needs to be done. And every leader is different. I, for example, don't need a plan, but I have it written down because I have people working with me and they need to know what the plan is. So I have it in my hand. I am a very driven person, so I know what I want. But having to communicate that to your team and give them goals, and even to our cleaners, we have goals. You have to be on time. You have to have above 95% rating from the customers. All around the company, we have to have a 4.5 or above Google rating. We're at 4.9. So it's just like communicating to your team what you want, and then also how are they gonna achieve that. Our team members achieving by that by us giving them support. The cleaners, we have a supervisor. The supervisor spends time with them constantly. As soon as they deviate from the plan,
Right.
what that means is maybe they get a bad review, maybe the customer is not happy with the cleaning, we right away communicate with that, and we say, this is what happened, and how can we make this better, and how can we learn from it.
Right, right, Judith. Now, customer experience. How do you ensure different customers are different? How do you ensure that those things are their expectations are met, exceptionally? Is there a particular way? How do you deal with customers? What are their, from the cleaning, we know in Canada they respect this cleaning work and all, but they do have that expectations. How do you make sure that there is not much mismatch among what they expect and what you deliver? And it can be a bit tough, especially in today's time. Even for product companies, you see, this customer service is a big problem all across the world. Many people have this whole problem that you cannot reach the people that you need to talk, and the companies are taking customers for granted. How, I want to understand this from a mindset of a CEO who's running operations is quite long, and also have seen all the changes and the present state of customer experience and customer affairs.
So my opinion is that you need to be engaged with your customers. So nowadays, engagement, when I was an executive assistant, you picked up the phone and you talk to people. That is really getting a little bit uh, old school, I should say, because everybody wants to communicate via text, via email, and actually not even email, but via text. That's what we see. My generation likes email. Younger generations, they like text. So we have a system. So I think it's really important that when you start a business, depending whatever business you have, you build a system. And we use a couple of systems, and we communicate with the clients. So we send them reminders, we send them invoices, we send them a scorecard. That is really, really important. So when we onboard a customer, we explain to them, the scorecard is pertains to the team members' performance. It's not actually a Google review, because sometimes they get it confused. And it's really important that after each cleaning, they give us feedback, because based on this, we rate the team member, and then also based on this, how they're going to get their Christmas bonus, right? So we communicate with the customer. Another important thing that we communicate, that we do have a cancellation policy, and it's not in place to take advantage people. It's actually in place to protect the hours for our team members, because our line of work is, we sign on a house to clean. That's going to be 3 hours every second Tuesday, for example. We don't want to lose that, because that's the livelihood of our team members. So now I've got customers like, you know what, I got to cancel last minute, but please to charge me my cancellation fee, because I do not want your team member to be out of work, right? So those are the customers that you want to align yourself with. And we also look at how that customer is with us. And sometimes we do get difficult customers. And I always explain to my team that it's a numbers game. You can't possibly in this world make everybody happy. So I think if business owners understand that, because sometimes business owners, especially in the beginning, you really, really take that really bad review at heart. And that's good. But as you grow, that just becomes a numbers game. Because, for example, we do like over 400 cleanings a month. Do you think that everybody is going to be happy? So I allow that less than 1% chance where the customer is not happy. So when the customer is not happy, what we do is we have a 24-hour guarantee. So we either go back and correct our mistake right away. And sometimes we have gotten 5-star reviews because we did that. Or, if it's warranted, we will give a discount to the customer. And then, we want the customers to be honest with us as well. So if something is not right, prove it by a picture. So we ask them to send a picture, anything that we really might have missed. And then also, I wanted to say, in our industry, what's clean to you and what's clean to me is very
Right.
different. So we have
Right.
Clean Club Calgary standard, and that's what we go by. And then we might get those customers who are really, I call them high maintenance, but in a good way, because I do really believe that I learn the best from my high maintenance clients. And then we've
Right.
got those customers that, like you do a wipe and they're like, oh my God, you're so good. Where with the high maintenance customers, you could be on your all four scrubbing and it's not good enough, right? So you just have to find your way in between. And you mentioned competition. And I'll be honest with you, I actually network with my competition, because I do believe that together we can build the industry stronger.
Wonderful, wonderful. That's something great to hear. I don't get to hear that much. Maybe I hear about people creating cartels with their competition, and along with that, so that they can get more money out of the customer. But to create better standards, that's a new thing, and it's a welcome thing. So I want to understand then the innovation part. Tell us a bit about how the cleaning industries. What are the things that you are using, innovating, and bringing to the customer? Maybe this will help a lot of give a perspective to this part of the world where they might be also looking at such things. Help us understand the trends in terms of innovation at the moment in the cleaning industry.
Um, so the biggest innovation in the cleaning industry would be if there would be robots replacing us.
Okay.
and and in especially in the residential sphere, not so much in innovation, because it's not cookie cutter. I did have a team member one time, and he was very frustrated when we were training, because he's like, this should be the same at every house, but we can't, because the customer is different, the house is different, the duties are different, right? So this is again where a good system comes in place, so you can keep that and you can inform your team member what needs to be done. In the commercial sphere, there's a lot of innovation. We heard during COVID, the electrostatic disinfectant guns have come in. A lot of floor care equipment is always being worked on and innovated and whatnot. We do dabble into some larger commercial construction and post renovation cleans. We actually just had one that was a 26,000 square foot daycare. And we did bring in machinery because the flooring was just so extensive. And because it was post renovation, it was very dirty. So you don't want to be doing all that by hand. So that's the innovation that you can go for. Another innovation you can go for is what kind of products you use. So there's a lot of vast products out there, a lot of green products, a lot of products that are a bit stronger. When we train our team members, we like to go from mild to stronger, because sometimes when you do, like, for example, a deep clean or a move out clean, the cabinets can be very greasy, or the oven can be really, used and a lot of things burnt on. So we need good products. And you see a lot of home remedies and things like that, and they don't necessarily work. And what I mean by that, they might work, but the dwell time is going to be like a couple of hours, where we need products that use, that work fast, because we get paid by the hour, right? So not much in the residential, quite a bit in the commercial space that there is innovation. But I like to say in the residential space, I think one game changer is how you train and what kind of training program you have for new team members, because that's when they're going to learn. Because I always say to my new team members, cleaning is not brain surgery, but it's damn close, because you are
Right.
gonna learn a lot about products and equipment and customers. And so it's actually, you have to have a lot of things that you have to know.
Wonderful. Wonderfully put. Cleaning is not brain surgery, but quite close. You talked
Absolutely.
about you being close to your, being networking with your competitors, but how do you uh, keep yourself ahead of your competitors? Is it about the training, or is it much more beyond that you continuously continue to do?
Training, continuous education. I think as business owners in the service industry, I think what makes a good business different is when you educate yourself. So I myself, as an owner, I call myself, that puppy that never grows into its skin. So I always educate myself. I always learn. I network. I learn best by other people's experiences. I'll be honest with you. So I belong to WPO, Women's Presidents Organization. I belong to CBF, which is Cleaning Business Fundamentals. Debbie Sardone has built an amazing community for cleaning business owners. So I think educating yourself and being the very best that you can be, and around that, being a kind boss and care about your team. We have a lot of Ukrainians who have immigrated to Canada. So I think a lot of them don't even know what a kind, caring boss could look like. So because that their culture is different. I'm Hungarian, we're neighbors. So I grew up in the system. So I know how that is. So I think keeping ahead is training properly your team members, continuous training and continuous learning. Never saying that you're being humble, and never saying that you know it all, because you can't possibly, especially in this world when AI is coming in with a vengeance. I go to AI all the time to be a bit smarter, you
Uh,
know? Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Judith. So I want to understand, a lot of women nowadays, are coming into more of entrepreneurship and startups and all, and especially also in difficult industries like you are in the cleaning industry. Predominantly, if I understand, it was much more of male dominated. Correct me if I am wrong, but I am. If I Now I see you being there, making a name for yourself. More and more women are now getting into industries that were earlier considered more male oriented. How do
So
you
yes.
what would you like to yeah, what would you like to tell such women entrepreneurs in terms of looking at such industries, and also looking at the challenges, being prepared for it, and also be there for the long haul and not just leave it midway.
So yes, you're right. It was a male-dominated industry, but more like on the commercial side. On the
Right.
residential side, what kind of happens is, like you start a you start cleaning on your own. You're a cleaning lady, and then you start being referred, and then you build a business around that, and then boom, you can become a business owner, right? So in the residential is a little bit different. Um, I think my strength, so if I can maybe just share my experience,
Right.
is my resiliency. And you have to, when you start a business, you have to be really resilient. If you get bogged down by small things like, why did this team member text me at 8 o'clock at night? They're not supposed to text me at 8 o'clock at night because I'm off work. If you have that
Right.
mentality, you're not able to grow because that's not important. Who cares when they text? You just text them back during working hours. Simple as that, right? Because you never know what kind of life they have. You never know what they are going through. Maybe they have tons of kids and they just remembered at that time to text you that information or ask you that questions because otherwise they're going to forget, right? So, and then also remembering that business is a lot like being a teenager.
Right.
I always say this. It's like 1 minute you're like, "Oh my god, I'm so happy. I'm doing so great. I'm so amazing." And the next minute you're like crying and you're like, "How could this happen? How can I, how can I remedy this? Like this is awful." So that roller coaster you have to be ready for. And to for women, I think we are really good. We have good empathy. So if you bring that into your work, then you're going to be a much, much better leader. I try to do that every day and being non judgmental because everybody is going through something. Everybody is dealing with something. So not being hung up on like, how did they say it? What tone they used or whatever. Just removing all that, listening to your customer or your team member and responding in a kind way. I was able to turn around a lot of conversations that started really, really badly just because you sit there and you listen and you respond in a kind way, even though maybe deep inside you're like, oh my god, I have some reservations or whatever, but that's gonna take you to the long way, I think.
Absolutely, and very well put and explained, Judith. And I'm sure a lot of people will learn from all this that you have talked right now. And I'm sure a lot of people would want to learn more from you, about you, engage with your company. So what is the best way for them to connect with you?
We are on a lot of platforms. It's our website is cleanclubcalgary.com, and we are on Instagram under Clean Club Calgary, Facebook Clean Club Calgary, TikTok Clean Club Calgary, and then also on YouTube under Clean Club Calgary. And I am all over the website. So if you want to reach me, it's super easy to send us a message and I will get back to you.
Wonderful. With this, it's a wrap on this very special edition of the KJ Masterclass Live. Thank you so much indeed for joining us.
Thank you.